993 turbo, and we have a horn issue. So basically when we hit a speed bump or turn the steering, press the brakes hard, the horn will just activate on its own. So there's something behind that airbag that activates the horn. But what I noticed in this car, there's hardly any spring back from the airbag. It's very sensitive. So as soon as you touch the airbag, the horn activates. So after studying the parts diagram and stuff, I figured I would order the back plate, pretty much what's behind the airbag. So I'll show you what the part is. This is the part number 993-347-08801. So as you can see here, it's got some bushings, rubber bushings, and I believe the bushings are worn out, and I'm pretty sure that is the problem. Now this requires airbag removal, and for your safety, of course, you want to disconnect the battery. And let's get to how to remove this airbag. You will need a T30 Torx screwdriver or any kind of tool that's a T30. And as you can see here, you access the screws for the airbag behind the steering wheel. As you can see there, there's an access hole right over there. So one at the top, one at the bottom. You remove those two screws, you loosen them up. They will not come out, but you loosen them up and the airbag is going to pop out. So you have one at the 9 o'clock position and 3 o'clock position. So you may want to turn your steering on the lower part to access the bolt. It's a lot easier as to doing it from the top here. So I'm going to start by removing the airbag and show you guys. Alright, so now that I removed the airbag, what you want to do is disconnect the airbag itself. So you're going to grab a small flathead screwdriver and pretty much pop the connector. Alright, so there you go. So I'm going to put the airbag on the side here. And we do have another connector right over here, which is a terminal. Pretty much disconnect that terminal as well. And finally remove these 4 bolts, 19 millimeters, and the plate will come off. After removing these 4 19 millimeter bolts, this is what it's going to look like. Make sure you don't lose your screws. They're probably going to drop. Make sure you grab them and put them back in position. So when you put your plate back, the airbag retaining screws are there. So let's talk about the parts. So as I suspected, the plate is the problem. This is the original one, and it is so easy to move. It's a bit like a bushing on a suspension. You know, they're loose. So basically, this, by the bushings being loose, it just contacts. It makes contact with ground all the time, as you can see here by the 4 little pins. It's easy to make contact. So that's what's going on. And if I compare it to the new one is very stiff. Very stiff. So basically, bushings being loose causes a very sensitive horn when it comes to the airbag, when you're pushing it or whatever. So you'll need to replace this plate. Of course, if this is your problem, you might have a different problem. However, this is probably the most common problem. So right now, all I need to do is put everything back. So there's not actually a way to put everything back. I mean, the way you removed it, you put them back in. And yeah, so I'm gonna put everything back and test the horn and make sure everything is fine. All right, guys, now that I've reinstalled my retaining plate, I'd like to mention a few things. One, Porsche highly recommends that these 2 screws and 1, 2, 3, and 4 screws need to be replaced every time you mess around with the airbag. So of course, if Porsche recommends it, I believe that most of you might feel the need to replace them. I really don't feel that they need to be replaced. However, Porsche does recommend it. And these need to be torqued to 7.5 foot-pounds, and these 3.5 foot-pounds. And again, if you look at the bolt, it's not threaded all the way up. So remember, if you don't have a torque wrench, when you screw in the screw, when you reach the very end, when there's no threads, all right, what you want to do is give it a slight little tightening. I mean, don't go crazy with this. You do not have to over tighten these. You can actually break them inside the steering. That's the last thing you want. So let me show you guys once you reach the end here. All right, so once you, there you go. I reached the end right now. I can't go further than this. I'll grab my ratchet, for example, and slight little tightening. That's it. Maybe about 30-45 degrees, not more than that. So once you've tightened everything, make sure your ground is connected. Make sure your 2 bolts are there to reinstall the airbag. So basically, I am ready to install my airbag. Make sure it's positioned properly. In my case, it is here. So now all I have to do is tighten those screws and test the horn. All right, guys. So now that I've installed the airbag and everything is complete, let's put the key to the on position. All right. So if I hit the steering, it's no longer honking. Before, any little hit on the steering wheel or anything would trigger it. So now I'm gonna push the airbag, and that's it. Before, I would just do this and it would start honking. So it's back to normal, and this is the job completed. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video helped you out. Thank you.